I'm excited about today. I'm excited to talk to you guys. I'm gonna reiterate the title. I'm gonna bring some talk about real estate investing, what I've done in the past, right? And what I'm working towards. Where right now I'm working towards building a brand. So we'll talk about that. And then maybe we'll get into the future a little bit. I can't help but talk about the future because that's one of my gifts, futuristic. So I can't wait to have you all here with me talking through it. I know the notifications don't come until 3 minutes from now, so we're about a minute in. So you guys will be joining me soon, and I'm excited about it. Oh, I just saw a heart, so somebody just came into the building. I'm excited. Got a like already. That's what's up. I appreciate you guys being here with me. Looking forward to as many folks as we'll get tonight. You know, I understand 8:30 is not for everybody, but you know, those who are ready to learn something, they're going to join in. Hello. Thank you for joining me. I see you coming in now. You know, I like to ask people where they're from. So if you can go ahead and put in the chat where you from, we'll get that connection going. Man, that's great. I see someone already in at the 1 minute mark. So I wonder why the notifications come out so late. But I know to go ahead and, you know, start to talk because, you know, after this recording, you know, we submit it live so you guys can see. And, you know, in the previous ones, it was new. You know, this is only like my third time going live. But, you know, as we continue to get more experience and we practice, we improve. So, you know, this is a process of improvement. I went ahead and started talking for you guys. And look, there you go. You got other people coming in now. So glad you guys were able to join me. I appreciate the hearts. I'm excited about tonight. Hello, Jennifer. Thank you for joining me. Okay, we got somebody from Nigeria. Welcome. Go ahead and put in the chat where you from. We got 4 people in the building. Thank you all for joining me. Hi. Thank you all for joining me. We got 8 people in the building. Go ahead and tell me where you from. I like to start it off interactive, see where everybody's from. Hi, little man. Where you from? Tell me where you from. I'm excited. I got a message for you guys. It's going to be about real estate investing and how I'm transitioning to personal branding. I still love real estate, but I learned a lot and I'm taking that over into personal branding. I'm going to tell you all about it. So I'm looking forward to all the questions, as you know, but I'll start off with some stories about how I got started and then, you know, kind of talk a little bit about the future. I'm a futuristic type of guy. So appreciate all the hearts. So I like to, you know, guide you guys on, you know, where I'm at now and where I'm going. Appreciate all the hearts. Tell me where you from, you guys. Nice meeting you here. Thank you all for interacting with one another. This is going to be a great community. It's going to continue to build. We got 11 folks in the building. It's going to continue to build and grow, and I'm excited about it. I'm excited to connect with you all. I'm looking forward to seeing you all grow and transform through the information that we share, through the relationships that's built in this community. I'm really excited about it. So let me go ahead and get started. So my first property I bought not too long after graduating college. So I graduated May of 2018 from Tuskegee University, and then I bought my first property not too long after. So I'm gonna end up writing the dates down precisely so you guys can follow along. But just for, you know, making sure everything is correct, I'm gonna do an approximation of everything. So I bought a property not too long after college. What I needed in order to get a property. So of course, good credit. You guys have heard of that several times. You know, a certain credit, like, you know, above 600, you should be pretty good. But if you want like some of the lowest interest rates, right? Because that's money that you can't get back when you pay interest rates. You want to be like around a 720 credit score. We're going to talk about credit scores some other point. This is not the video for it. It's very detailed. So I'm just talking about the basic things that you would need in order to get ready for owning a home, right? I'm out of college and I'm basically prepared in order to own a home, right? So another thing I needed was 2 years of history. So that's work history. That's from W-2. So I had internships and co-ops that I had while I was in college. So I was working in my field. So I had enough work history in order to qualify for a loan, a mortgage loan. So I got pre-qualified, right? And then when they gather all the information, some banks will ask you all your information. Like you almost feel like you giving them, everything. I mean, I almost felt like they was going to ask for my medical records next. I mean, that's just the process. They'll make sure they understand you can take on this mortgage payment, right? They want their money. They want to make sure their money is safe. That's how it is. You guys can tell me if you heard all about that. Somebody said yes. The banks are very thorough. So that's something that I understood after buying my first property. But once you go through the process, you kind of have a pretty good frame of how it works, right? Every time I bought a property, it was a different experience. I learned something new every time, but overall, the process of getting pre-approved, working with a bank was pretty similar. It's pretty standard. All right. So you guys can say yes or no if you haven't experienced it. Just kind of, interact with me, interact with the folks in the group. But I'm going to keep it pushing along. So next thing you know, after I got pre-approved, after they got all the information from me, then I was able to start shopping in the market, right? Any properties that was available or coming available, I was able to put an offer on it, right? That let me know that, hey, this is real. I'm working with an agent. They're putting in offers for me. Skip. Maybe every offer that I put in wasn't accepted. I know people experience that. But a lot of times when I came across the table, based on my credit history and my pre-approval letter, they was like, this is a serious buyer. So I put offers out and I got a property and I'm moving in. I just want to go ahead and skip. This is not like in detail about the process, but more so overall talking about real estate and how it's been a blessing to me and how I'm going to transition from real estate and into personal branding, what I'm doing right now, and how it kind of overlaps in a way. All right. So this is just kind of allowing me to share you guys my knowledge and experience so you guys can build the credibility with me. Like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. He's established in real estate. He's building a brand. We see that it's growing. You guys can trust me. That's what this is all about. But I'm also able to help walk you through any journey that you want to do, like creating a real estate portfolio, because it allows you to buy your time back, right? When you have like this passive income coming into your life, it could be through real estate, could be through, another avenue that, pays you while you sleep. That's a level of freedom. That's what we want to get to. I've been talking about mindset, right? But the next thing is like, you're going to apply that mindset towards actions that's going to get you results, right? And the reason why we want to get good results is because eventually we want to be able to retire. We want to be able to spend time with family. We want to be able to follow our passion, right? We want to be able to do big things in this world, right? Based on the interest that we have. So real estate is one of those ways that I've been able to do that. And I'm going to continue to share it with you guys. All right. So I got the property, happy, getting the keys, getting into the property. I'm excited, right? And, you live in the property for about a year. What I've done in order to prevent mortgage fraud, I live in my property for a year. That's what it says you must do. The bank trusts you. The bank don't trust nobody else. When you get property in your portfolio as a primary resident, like the bank wants you in that house because they know you are going to be able to pay based off of your income that you have, your credit history. They're like, yeah, I trust you in this property. I mean, like now properties are like on low average, like 250,000, right? I mean, sometimes you can't even find a good property for 300,000, right? Depending on the area that you're in. So they're like, I'm trusting you with hundreds of thousands of dollars. I want you to get in there. I want you to take care of it. I want you to make your payment on time. So that's what I was able to do. When I bought my first property out of college, I had that level of mentality to know that I had to make the payment. I might have got pre-approved for several hundreds of thousands, but I understood that I had to make a payment. The higher the property, the higher the mortgage. So you don't always have to, if you get pre-approved for 300,000, 400,000, you don't have to get a $400,000 house because that's going to be a high payment, right? I understood that coming out of college. I had a pretty good income, but I was like, I don't want to be poor in a sense because all my money is going towards the mortgage, right? I don't want to be house poor. That's the term that they use. I already knew that straight on. I wanted to make sure I paid my payment, but I got something extra to, to put on the side for the rainy day, right? To enjoy my life, to not just be, house poor and feeling like I got this house, I got a car, and then there's nothing else for me to do. So I understood that right from the start. Nobody taught me that. It was just something that I knew. And a lot of times, you guys, we're going through this journey, and you can be like, how LaFred knew that? Nobody else probably is doing it. But it's just the wisdom, the mindset you continue to build, and things just open up for you. You get enlightened by different ideas. And I was enlightened to ensure that I could control my destiny by not taking on more than I can handle. Sometimes you got to start small. So I got this property that I knew I can afford because, I got income, and, my income was probably 3 times more than that payment on a monthly basis. So I knew I could cover it, you know what I'm saying? And I was able to stack up. So that's something that you want to understand, that you can apply to a lot of different things. All right. I appreciate you guys sending the comments. I'm like on a roll. So, I'm not really looking until I'm going to get ready for questions. I want you guys to be ready for questions. But right now, I'm just going to go ahead and start getting this information out as quick as possible so you guys have enough time to ask the questions that you need to get a better understanding. So once again, I'm in this property for a year. Next thing you know, it wasn't intentional at this point, but I relocated. I had to relocate. Honestly, I lost a job, my first job out of college. I told you guys that before. But, I was able to keep that mortgage. What I did, I was pretty creative, right? In this small town, south of Tallahassee, Perry, Florida, small town, some people didn't think that Airbnb existed. I put myself out there. I made my rooms available because I couldn't afford it. I was without work, but I wasn't going to lose my property. No, I understood that I can be creative and make sure that this mortgage is paid. So, small town, I had faith. I put it out there. Next thing you know, I ended up with 2 tenants, and now I was cash flowing. Got that property mortgage paid off, and I had some extra without a job. 6 months without a job, you guys. I was covered. I was covered by the grace of God. 6 months without a job, I ended up getting another property, but I had to relocate. Like, I was 1,000 miles away from my first property. Now I'm in Texas, and I got another property now. I buy properties out of need. I need a place to live. So, if I can buy a property, I'm going to buy a property. If it's not feasible for me to buy a property, then I'm going to continue to keep my living expenses low. You know what I'm saying? Because when you have a property, you paying towards a principal, you're owning more of the property, right? The bank is owning less of it, and you're owning more of it. That's building wealth. So, I was without a job for about 6 months. Next, I locate from Florida to Texas. I buy another property. Now I got 2 in my possession, 2 properties. I stay in there for a year. Now I'm thinking about other properties. You know what? I didn't make it to my 3rd property. I didn't make it. I had to liquidate. I told you guys, because of divorce, I had to liquidate. I had to start all over. It's okay. That happens. That's not even the point that we're trying to make here. We're talking about how you can own real estate, right? To buy your freedom back, right? And we're talking about how you have to be strategic and not putting yourself in a pickle where you end up losing what you have. Divorce was out of my control in a way. That was a decision. You can have no fault divorce, right? And things just, spiral out of control, and it's just it is what it is. Now you let's get this over with so I can, start building again. That's what I did, you guys. I ended up relocating closer to my family, and I ended up buying another property. I got another property. In the details about the property, some people are in real estate, so they might want to hear, how big was the property? These were single family properties. They got bigger over time as my income increased, and, based off my taste, I bought a property. I went from 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms to 5 bedroom, 3 bath, 5-3, right? On my 3rd property, I started all over, sold 2, bought 2, sold 2. Then I started all over, bought 1. It was a 5-3, nice property, nice neighborhood. I was doing really good, really happy about it, right? I stayed in there for a year, did some house hacking, right? Did some Airbnb, that did very well. Next thing you know, I'm interested in buying another property that's going to benefit my lifestyle. I bought a property close to my little girl. So, when I got her, we didn't have to be in a hotel, right? I got a property now where she can call home, where she got her own room, got her own bed. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking about these things. This wasn't so much to make money. It was just make sure that she's safe. Safety has a value to it, right? So I was able to get that property for her. We 15 minutes in. I hope you guys are staying with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get this information out to you guys so you guys can ask me questions, right? So now this is the 4th property now, right? I bought 2, sold 2, then I started over. now this is the second property that I have, right? So my little girl, she has it. I call it, her home. I guess her name is out there on the internet, so I'm gonna go ahead and say it. It's Nolani's home. I was calling it Nolani's home. Nolani means beautiful one from heaven. There's a whole story on how she got her name. But yeah, she's a beautiful girl. And I just want to make sure that she's safe and that we got a place that, we can call home. Sometimes when it's raining, we got to stay inside. So she got all her toys and be able to do her thing, and it's also like a safe haven for my family. You know what I'm saying? So I was able to help them. Now I like the Lord allowed me to be a blessing. Now I'm able to be a blessing to others. Blessed to be a blessing. That's what you guys are going to be able to accomplish in this community. You already, the fact that you taking on this information, you know what I'm saying? If it's really speaking to you, I know you are a blessing. You are blessed to be a blessing. Like, you matter. And as you go higher, other people win too. That's a blessed person. When you're able to have an impact on others because of your success, that's amazing. Even after you at your lowest point, you still speaking life into people because it's only a matter of time before you're able to clap your hands and people clapping hands for you. You know what I'm saying? You don't never lose that mentality no matter what happens to you. You're still able to give your best. When you high and on top of the mountain, you're still able to give your best. When you low in the valley, you're still able to give your best. That's that mentality. That's what we're talking about. And if you don't have it, we're going to continue to build it. We're going to continue to build it so you can be a blessing to others. Because that's why we're in this world. We're in this world to help one another. All right. So let me get back to the story. I just felt that right there. I see the hearts. I know you feel it too. All right. Once again, I got my fourth property, 2 in the portfolio. I'm working towards my third one, but it's only a matter of time, step by step. I can't over leverage, right? I can't put myself in a position where I can't afford something. I want to be able to own something. I want that staying power. What I have, I want to be able to keep it, right? With the relationships that I have, I want to be able to keep those, right? Practice, you know what I'm saying? If it's for you, if it's feeding you, if it's nurturing you, you want to be able to keep those good things, right? All right. And that's about the decisions that you make in order for you to keep those things, right? So I have my properties. The first one that I bought after the liquidation was back in 2022. Now it's 3 years later. I got that property. I've never held a property over 3 years before. So I'm happy that I got that property. I got tenants in there. They're doing great. I think based on the time, I won't be able to go into details of how I get the tenants. But I got tenants in there. They're doing great. And I got a family property for my little girl. And then my family is able to come in there and they were able to reduce their living expenses instead of renting an apartment, right? Paying on average $1,300, not including, electricity and all that. Y'all already know, y'all can already say yes in the building if you rent and rent is high. You know what I'm saying? I know it's different for different countries and stuff, but rent is just increasing, right? Inflation and all that stuff. But when you own something, even though properties are increasing as well, when you own something, you eventually can own it outright. And that's what I'm working towards, right? All right. So I think that pretty much sums it up. Another thing that I do when I, had a property, if I can, section the house off and do Airbnb, and that reduces the mortgage, right? And I can pay more towards the principal. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that because I want to minimize the amount of interest that I'm paying, right? Because that's money you can't get back. Of course, on the taxes, that's another thing about owning real estate. When you paying taxes, right? You can use real estate as a to reduce your taxable income, right? You got deductions, right? You can write off taxes. You can write off interest, right? When you own property. So, a lot of folks just kind of get tapped in on that and whatnot. But, that was the thing that I started, right when I got the first property. I understand I want more and more, but there is a limit, right? When something's good, right? But you have too much of it. If you indulge too much, it can be bad. You got to understand that. In this community, I believe I'm going to help you understand that. We're going to help each other understand that something is good, that's good, but you don't want to have too much of candy. You don't want to have too much of water, right? If you just drink too much water, you could hurt yourself, right? You just want to have the right balance to everything that you do. You want to have the right balance of mentality. With this mentality thing, the imbalance is you might, come across as arrogant. It takes time to balance it. If you don't have, on the lower end of not having a good mentality, you might take your life, or let somebody else take your life. You know what I'm saying? But if you got a healthy level of mentality, you can move mountains. Do you believe that? If you believe that, give me some hearts. Give me some hearts. We transitioning out of real estate. I took about 20 minutes to talk about real estate. Now we're going to talk about kind of where I'm at now and the personal branding. While we're here, talking about mentality, right? While we're here, you know what I'm saying? Oh, there go the hearts. It was kind of delayed. So I know you guys are keeping up, right? You guys are keeping up. I appreciate the hearts. All right. So it's the LaFred effect, right? Where we have real talk, we go deep and we build forward. While we're here, we're closing the gap. We're closing the gap physically, right? We're closing the gap psychologically, right? We're closing the gap financially. We're closing the gap mentally. We're closing the gap spiritually. I want to pour into you guys and help close the gap. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to continue to grow from this engagement in this community. You guys are going to inspire me to continue to reach higher heights. You guys are going to inspire me to continue to give. You guys are going to inspire me to continue to be all I can be. And I'm going to encourage you to be all you can be. It's called mutual faith. We encourage one another. And I want everybody weeded out that's not a part of the community, and everybody that wants to grow together to just continue to engage and make friends and build bonds that are unbreakable. Once again, I talked about how, right? I talked about how, 2 bonds is hard to break. 3 bonds is hard to break. When we're walking together, we have power. We're going to have impact. When you stand alone, it's only so much you can do, but we're going to build together. That's what this community is all about. The LaFred effect. It's about building and growing and having an impact, closing that gap so that we all can win. It's possible that we all can win. Not everybody wants to win, and that's okay. But if you want to win, if you got that mentality, right, you're going to win, and I'm going to help you. We're going to talk about mentality. Next thing you know, we're going to talk about applying actions, right? And next thing you know, we're going to see those results. We're going to transform and we're going to make a huge difference. All right. So now where I'm at with personal branding, right? Look, guys, I neglected my social presence. Like I'm really particular about how I'm perceived in this world, right? So I didn't really feel like social media was like going to be like a value add to my life. I never like really started any accounts, right? One of my first accounts was like MySpace. I didn't start that. I'm showing my age. I know MySpace back in the day. I didn't start it. One of my girlfriends started it. You know what I'm saying? The next thing you know, it was like Twitter and Facebook kind of at the same time. I don't think I started either one of those either. I might have started. I know I started my second Facebook. I closed one and started another Facebook. And if you look me up on Facebook, I ain't got that many friends. Because it's about intention. My first Facebook, I had like 3,000 friends. I didn't know everybody, but now on my second Facebook, I know everybody in there. I had personal interactions with them. I'm not saying you guys delete all your friends that you don't know, your associates and stuff. I'm not saying start a new account, but I'm saying it's important to get to a spot where you living intentionally, right? You saying happy birthday to folks. You able to give people a call. You know what I'm saying? You able to tune in and really care about what they got going on because you got a strong relationship with them. That's my Facebook, right? That's my Facebook. But I got that deleted because, sometimes it's still a distraction. So, what I'm really spending my time on is LinkedIn because there's some positive people out there. It's high talent out there. And I want them to be a part of the community. If they got that same mentality, I'm going to put it out there for them to join me, right? So we got LinkedIn and now we got YouTube, you guys. We on YouTube live. Like I usually be the one consuming the information, which is great. And that's allowed me to build up who I am right now. But now I'm contributing and I'm happy about it. I'm happy to go live with you guys. Happy to contribute. I'm happy to build this group, you know what I'm saying, where we all here. Yes, the mindset, that's what matters. I'm looking at the comments now. The LaFred effect, that's what's up. It starts in the mind. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the love. Like I feel it now. I feel the energy. I feel it and I appreciate it. You guys, I had a nap. I'm gonna be honest, I had a nap before this, and I'll see it showing too. Like I had that nap. I needed that nap. You guys, I've been pouring into you guys. I normally get 8 hours. I haven't been doing that with the personal branding. We're talking about it now. It's been taking a lot of energy out of me, and I've been giving it to you guys because that's important. It fulfills me to be able to give back, and I'm being able to give back in this manner. I didn't even know. I did not know. Look, I told you guys on LinkedIn. I'm gonna tell you now. Like I had a buddy, right? And he's still my buddy. We close, especially because he said to the group, he was like, LaFred needs to start a YouTube channel. He said LaFred should start a YouTube channel. That's exactly what he said. LaFred should start a YouTube channel. And that's all I needed, you guys. That's all I needed was somebody to be bold and tell me what the community needed, right? Everything else I took from here. The LaFred effect, that's something I came up with, right? It's people been like helping me, feeding, feedback to me, like, okay, try this, try that. And I'm like, why I got an ear? You know why I got an ear? Because I'm meeting the need of the community. And that's what you can do as well. When you hear a need and it's part of your capability to make a difference, you know what I'm saying? You do that, right? So he was like, LaFred should start a YouTube channel. And now he's like, you doing a great job, And he was wondering like how come he couldn't make actions for himself. But that means like, hey, you connected to a winner, you connected to the winner, whatever you're gonna start is coming. I'm gonna speak life into you. I'm doing that for you guys too. I'm gonna speak life into you because I want to see something grow. We're created by a creator, and we can create too. You know what I'm saying? It don't have to be a YouTube channel. It could be a real estate portfolio. It could be a stock portfolio. It could be virtual assistants, right? Helping people, helping founders build out their brand, right? We all play a part. You know what I'm saying? Like we have a body and we got eyes. We got eyebrow, we got nose, we got ears to hear, we got lips, right, to kiss. We got a mouth, right, a tongue to be able to taste. We got hands to be able to write. We got legs to be able to walk. Like all these parts, they come together and they make something great. They make you a great person, right? They make me to be able to pour into you guys, right? They make, these hearts. I appreciate it so much. Celebrations. It's important that you understand we all play a huge part in building something strong. Nothing is wasted. The Lord does not waste. He didn't waste his time on you. He didn't waste his time on me. We are here for a reason. And we like this is intentional, right? And all these comments on purpose. All this talk, all these hearts on purpose. It makes a difference, right? It makes a difference. So we're on this personal brand journey and it's going great. The numbers looking good. We having an impact and we're going to continue to have an impact because this is just the beginning, you guys. This is just the beginning. I don't stop. I don't quit. And especially when things are good, I'm going to just keep doing it. I'm going to just keep doing it. You know what? I'm understanding where our stopping point is for me. And so you can ask me questions. It's going to be at a 30-minute mark. And then we're going to go another 30 minutes, right? We do these hour sections and I hope it's enlightening for you guys. I hope it's sparking you guys. I know it's going to be late and I hope you guys will be able to go sleep after this and then start a new day tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm sharing the energy. I know you're getting hype. I interact with people and they be like, man, I just I get a boost of confidence around you. I get that energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna give you a heads up. You gotta channel that energy. You know what I'm saying? You can't just think that you're gonna be able to, jump off a mountain and fly. I don't think you should do that. You gotta channel that energy. I understand it's powerful, but you want to channel it and redirect it into actions, right? That make a difference. I joke sometimes too. Okay, I joke sometimes. So that was a joke. All right. Anyways. That energy is important, right? This personal brand journey, the LaFred effect is making a difference. This is not, I can't even minimize it to a personal brand. This is a movement, you guys. This is a movement. We're going to make a difference. I'm going to see you guys grow. Like I said, I'm calling it into existence. Eventually, one day, we're going to meet in person. And I'm going to be so excited because you guys are going to show me the energy that I was giving you. I'm going to love it. And I'm going to come with the energy again. You know what I'm saying? Handshakes, hugs, everything, the energy. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk. All right. I'm excited. I'm excited to collaborate with some other folks, continue to bring the energy because I know there's other people pouring into people just like this, talking about real estate, talking about personal branding and allowing people to be able to ask questions so we can continue to grow together. Okay. I see a question out there. How do you stay real and professional at the same time on social media? That's a great question. I love who I am. I enjoy being who I am. I won't change for nobody. Only reason why I change is because if it's necessary. I'm never perfect. I'm not perfect. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I needed to change. I needed to change in order to be able to have a greater impact. It's important to change. It's going to be different environments. It's going to be different people that you meet. And those who are important to you, it's okay to adjust here and there. Don't lose the essence of yourself, right? But, make a little adjustments here and there. You can, be a little bit more kinder, be a little bit more patient. That's important, right? I'm on social media. I'm working, I'm with my little girl. I'm with my family. I'm with my friends. And they all know I'm exactly the same. There's no difference. I don't turn it on and off, code switch or anything like that. No, I do my best in any environment that I'm in. I talk like this. I am like this. I'm direct. You know what I'm saying? I might grow up to that, start a little slower, kind of be a little bit more quieter and then, work my way up. Eventually who I am is going to come out. But I like to observe, get a feel for an environment. I recommend you guys do that too. Understand if this environment is conducive for the type of person that you are. Because if it's not, you want to get up out of there. You want to get up out of there because, you know, we don't have that much time on this earth. We got to find where we can continue to grow. We want to find that good soil where we can grow, right? We can have an impact. We can feel valued and respected. Like, that's what I'm looking for. So that's why it's easy for me to be the same, you know, in my personal life and my professional life, in front of you guys and, you know, without you guys. Like, it don't matter. Like, I'm me no matter who's watching. I talk about that, and that's important. All right, what's the next thing? How are you able to balance real estate with building your personal brand? Great question, right? So, you know, what I really love about real estate is when you buy right, you don't have to do so much later. So I can give you some more details about when I bought my first property, what I was looking for. I was looking for a place where I can call home. I was looking for a place where I felt safe, where it was a good quality. So I'm in a subdivision that's nice. You know what I'm saying? None of them was gated, but it was like in a nice area, nice quiet area, right? Peaceful neighbors, you know what I'm saying? Like, it had the right combination. It was something that I valued. You know, I'm up there, high income earner coming out of college, right? And I'm buying, like, I you know what I'm saying? Think about when you feel accomplished and you want something. So I had a nice property, right? You know, having that nice property, I know somebody else coming behind me is going to value it too, you know? So that was one thing that I would do, or I still do it. I buy pretty homes, right? And then the next person that comes in, like, for one thing, they can pay for it. That's a quality of, you know, level of quality that I think about. If they can pay for it, right? I do an interview. I think I listen to their personality. I even go and see how they live, because how they live, you know what I'm saying, is going to be an example of how they're going to live in my property. How they take care of their property is going to be how they're going to take care of my property. So that's one thing that people don't really do, or people didn't really like. They probably don't have time to do it, or they don't really know. But, you know, when I take my time, I'm able to do a thorough inspection of my tenant. You know what I'm saying? And we have great relationships. They pay on time. They're respectful. They take care of my property, add value to it. That's what I've experienced. You know what I'm saying? That's what I've experienced from my two tenants that I've had. You know, one tenant, I ended up selling that property, but now I got another tenant, right? And both of those experiences have been beautiful because of the work that's done up front. And the properties that I own, you know, they're low maintenance. They're pretty properties. They're ones that I want to live in. And, you know what I'm saying, it's going to last a long time. Okay, so that's something I'm gonna be able to go and do master classes where I go into more details, every aspect of what I'm looking for. So I can ensure that the people that are interested on that level is gonna be able to be successful, duplicate that success. People wanna know, hey, I know you're successful in real estate, but, you know, do you have any examples of somebody else being successful? You know what? I want to get some examples out of this community. I want to help you grow your real estate portfolio. I want to make sure you do it right. You'll be able to have me alongside you, whether it's your first time buying a home or you're looking to buy your second property, right? And you want to know how to transition out of that property into another one, right? To be able to avoid the 20% down payment. That's what people think they need to buy their first property, right? You don't even need that to get your second property. You don't need 20% down. That's a myth. Right? I've never paid 20% down for anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to make sure I can get something, control it with little money out of my pocket. When I get the tenant in there, then they're paying it down for me. I might pay a little bit more toward the principal. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm actually doing a lot now. I've made a big step to paying down the mortgage. You know what I'm saying? The mortgage is a liability. The asset is the property, because the property is made available to meet the need of somebody else, and then they're able to pay me, meeting the needs, right? That's a overlap between real estate and personal branding. I'm meeting a need. Yeah, if you find an opportunity to meet somebody's need, there's going to be an exchange from that. I got people helping me build this brand. There's going to be an exchange from that when you meeting a need. All right, I'm ready to take another question. How you doing? I'm doing great. Thank you, Kim Love. I'm doing great. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate everybody that's tapped in with us. I appreciate everybody that's liked. I appreciate everybody that's telling people about this channel in order for it to grow. I appreciate that. I appreciate y'all. Let me get another question out there. It said, we love to learn more about the real estate industry. The real estate industry has made the most multi-millionaires That's what we're talking about. We talking about the industry where it can be like, pretty straightforward. Owning a property. You need a property to lay your head. I bought properties out of necessity. I need a place to lay my head, and then it built from there. I appreciate all the hearts. You got to meet the need. You got to meet your own needs. You got to take care of yourself. What do they say on the plane? You need to put your own stuff on first, and then you help somebody else. Meet your needs, and then you're able to meet somebody else's needs. That's what it's all about. Somebody said, I have diabetes. I'm sorry to hear that. But be encouraged. Encourage that person, you guys. People come in here and they might be hurt. They might be down. We all been down. I want you guys to help. Extend a hello. Say you are welcome. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's all about. Encourage people. It says, what's your favorite part of helping people buy or sell a home? I'm looking forward to helping people buy a home. To be honest, when you sell, you got to do it again. You got to find somewhere else. And you know what? When you sell, think about this, you guys. The properties are going higher. And you know what? They're going higher, right? And with less space. So you've been bought a property, say 2,000 square foot, right? For like, let's say 250,000, right? Back in, let's say 2010, you know what? That same house is worth more. That's great. But let's say you cashed out and now you wanted to buy back. You know what I'm saying? That was 2,000 square foot. Now they got 1,200 square foot properties selling for 250. Less property, same price. So I'm really excited about helping people buy a home and helping them understand that you need to keep it, as long as you can to build wealth, right? You might sell it down the line. You might, pass it down. But I'm excited about the buyers because, the buyers and the ones that's able to buy and hold are the ones that are able to build wealth. When you sell, you got to sell again. You got to sell again. So that's what side I'm going to be on. You know what I'm saying? I've experienced both sides, buying and selling, but I'm excited to help out the buyers. I'm excited to be a buyer, to be able to hold, to be able to have that cash flow coming in. So that's a great question right there. It's another question associated. It says, how can you show more of that in your brand? I'm excited to show more of that. I know when I posted about this story, I'm going to share it with you guys, but I'm going to tell you, when I posted it on LinkedIn, it was a great reaction. I mean, it was just like, compared to other reactions when I just talk about something in general, like it wasn't on the same level. So I'm like, okay, I know everybody want to learn more about real estate, but if you don't get your mind right, real estate can, it can be something that you don't like. You know what I'm saying? Like real estate has been a blessing by the grace of God. Like everything has been very smooth with it. Like I understand real estate. And when I got into it, I was able to handle real estate. And you guys, like, if you want to know more about that, I'm going to be able to walk with you and tell you more about that, right? But once again, it says like, how can I put more about it in my brand? So I told a story. I was talking about how my tenant, they were actually experiencing some tough times. Like I kind of felt it. I could tell, like you can like be in tune with what's going on with your people. As a leader, you want to be understand. I manage all my properties, so I interact with the tenant, right? And it's low maintenance, and we don't actually communicate that much. It's really like towards like rent time where I hear about them, and that's important. You know what I'm saying? Low maintenance. I know that they good because if there's something wasn't good, they're gonna reach out to me, and I'm gonna fix that, and so they can be good. When I don't hear nothing, I know things going good. When that rent payment come in, I know it's all good. But you know what I'm saying? Things were like a little tight, but guess what I was able to do? You know what I'm saying? I said, you know what? I want to upgrade my flooring. By the grace of God, you got a husband and a wife, right? The wife is a nurse. The husband does flooring for a living, right? I was able to hire my tenant. I put money in his pocket. He upgraded my floors. He upgraded my property. He added value to my property. I put money in his pocket. When I put money in his pocket, he was able to continue to pay his rent on time, right? That's community right there. Understanding the skill set that's right there in front of you, and you giving them the opportunity. You know what I'm saying? We helping each other. You know what I'm saying? So that's a story that I was able to tell on LinkedIn about how I was able to bless my tenant, and then he was able to bless the property and bless me. It was a mutual beneficial relationship. And I continue to look for those. Eventually, I'm gonna need my walls painted, right? Because I bought the house, and I bought the house in 2022, but it was a 2020 build. So it's been like 5 years. So next thing you know, fresh paint on the wall. You know what I'm saying? Hire them to do that. Put money in their pocket. They're able to pay the rent, right? And my property value is increased. Win-win situation. I always look for those. All right, next question. How can real estate professionals maintain authentic and their brand while still adapting to trends like social media or AI generation content? They better stay real. They better stay real. Like, you leverage the social media, you leverage the AI and stuff. You don't be phony out there. You want to leverage that, you know what I'm saying? But you better be real because they're going to meet you in person. We ain't going to do the whole business deal online. We might, you know what I'm saying? I might do some transitions online if I have a team, you know what I'm saying? But it's going to be some person to person interaction. That ain't going nowhere. You can't hide behind the social media. You can't hide behind AI. You got to be real. You got to be authentic. And that's where you get real business that stays and sticks around. When you be authentic, you be personable, relatable. You know what I'm saying? Be a true leader. Don't hide behind nothing. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure people out there being phony and stuff, but you ain't gonna get that here. You dealing with me. I'm always real. You know what I'm saying? Another thing about being real and direct, that don't mean being rude. You know what I'm saying? It's just being straightforward, no fluff. You know what I'm saying? Because, a person that's about no fluff, they like, I ain't gonna get nothing out of telling a lie. I ain't gonna get nothing out of like telling something that's, that's just over the top. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get something out of being real. That's what being direct about. That's what I say when I'm direct. I'm, straightforward. No fluff. It's not me being rude. I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. I don't want to offend nobody. I want us to grow. That's what my heart is about. It's about being intentional. That's what I talk about when I talk about myself. You know what I'm saying? That in that aspect. Hi, Ruth. Hey, yes. Authenticity is gold. That's exactly right. Let me get some more questions. It says, when you mentioned earlier about being authentic on social media, how far should we go in sharing our lives? Whatever you feel comfortable with. Whatever you feel comfortable with. I've always been a very transparent person. You know what I'm saying? So I built this muscle to be able to like speak about deep stuff. You know what I'm saying? It takes time. You know what I'm saying? Some people are closed in. Some people have their boundaries. Some people have that wall up. And I understand that. I understand that because maybe sometimes when you shared it, you didn't get the right response. And you're like, you know what? I'm not going to share that no more. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. I get it. You're hurt. You got to heal first and then understand that your story, your experience, it makes a difference. We're not in silos. Somebody has experienced that same thing. And somebody is needing somebody to say something, right? To speak up. And then next you know, it encourages them to do the same. I'm not saying go out there and tell people what you wear at night when you go to sleep. If you wear anything at all. You guys, I like to crack jokes, sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying there's a limit to like how open you are. It's a limit to how open I am. Most of the things I'm talking about happened several years ago. I might be telling like close people, you know what I'm saying? Because I needed like that connection. But eventually when you grow through it, you know what I'm saying? When you be able to live through something, you can use that to change and have an impact, right? Somebody laughing. They probably laughing about not telling people what you wearing when you go to bed. That's important to keep to yourself or your significant other, right? Can you walk us through your personal branding journey? Okay. What worked, what didn't, and what finally clicked? Okay. Good question. All right. So I would say my personal branding journey started on LinkedIn, right? Most people most people have been scrolling up to figure out when I started, and I told them, hey, they'll beat me to the punch. I was like, hey, I really just started posting consistently like 4 months ago. They was like, oh yeah, I know. I was like, oh okay, you look okay. I'm like, all right. Well, we on the same page, I literally started like 4 months ago to like putting out a post and just kind of warming up to where I'll post once or multiple times a day. If I'm happy, I post it multiple times a day. And, as far as like what's working, I can see impressions. I can see people are looking. I can see people react. I can see people comment, right? What I'm looking for is the comments. I love these comments, you guys. You guys are engaged. I see you interacting with one another. I see you asking questions. I love the engagement. After engagement comes, what everybody wants, those reactions, those likes, those hearts, those clapping your hands. You know what I'm saying? But at first, a lot of people just looking to try to understand what you're about. So, the first thing you can do, what work is like being authentic and opening up to people and allowing them to engage with you and your content, right? What didn't work, I've run into stuff that didn't work, but I'm quick to like pivot and like try something different. It's kind of hard to think about what didn't work because I'm so quick. I don't focus too much on what didn't work. I just keep thinking about what I can do better, right? What I can do better. Okay, all right, I can share now that I think about it. If I just put all words, no picture, people love pictures. So, just putting all words don't really work. Actually, it really doesn't work. I see that and I'm like, I used to be there. I used to just be putting words out because, sometimes I could be plain, you know what I'm saying? Like just putting words out there. A picture tells 1,000 words. Sometimes like a picture can do way better than just words. So that's something that did not work. I appreciate that question. What finally clicked? It's that engagement piece. It clicked. We're all people. We want to connect. You know what I'm saying? Some people might not be as open to connect on social media. It's understanding. Some people are like fake. Some people, are being like the opposite of who they truly are. You know what I'm saying? And, they got that thing catfish. A lot of people have been hurt online, right? So, that's like, where people are set back and they don't want to be able to open up that much. But you got to be able to understand what makes a difference about you. And you able to be that difference maker. That difference maker on social media, that difference maker in life. You know what I'm saying? I use social media as kind of like a playground too. You know what I'm saying? I have fun with it. You know what I'm saying? Like some people turn it into a job where they got to make money online. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm blessed that I can have fun with it until it's my time to make money online. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to like go about it right away. You can build up to it. You know what I'm saying? People who making money online are very talented. That is awesome. You know what I'm saying? Because when you able to like make money online, that means you got like a high level of energy where people can see through a phone that this person is genuine, this person is real. So props to people who can make money online. Like I haven't been making money online. That's like a next level for me. You know what I'm saying? I can see it, but you know what I'm saying? I haven't been able to do it just like that. And I appreciate those who are already in that position doing their thing. So that's awesome. Doing what you say and staying on course. That's very important. Putting your goals out there. You know, don't feel like people are just gonna be like taking your ideas and stuff like that. Put your idea out there so you can partner with people who like have the same mentality, who are working towards the same thing. Put your goals out there. You know what I'm saying? When you put your goals out there, then people can understand how they can help you. You know what I'm saying? How they can refer you to this and that. You know what I'm saying? Your goals are important, and because they was like something that came to your mind or is in your heart. You continue to work towards those things. Write it down and work towards it. And people are going. You be surprised what people come in your life to be able to help you complete that goal. For real, I know we got a lot of witnesses in here on that. All right, it says, what would you say to those who are still afraid to build their personal brand on social media? You know what I'm saying? Building a brand on social media is not for everyone. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's good to be able to like have that confidence, that desire to build a social media brand, but it's not for everyone. You know what I'm saying? Like, if everyone was building their brand, nobody would be building their brand. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm not gonna like be pushing it on everybody. I'm gonna be saying get a part of a good community. That's for everyone. Being a part of a good community, like the LaFred effect, right? That's important. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like whoever wants to build a brand, I can help you with that because I'm going through it myself. But I would say it's most important to be a part of community. That's the reason why I'm putting time into it, because I know it's a need to be a part of community. I need to be a part of community. I've been a part of several community, but it hasn't like been told in totality aligned with everything that I bring into this world. Like I want to grow in all those aspects that I named: psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, physically. Like I want to grow in all those aspects. That's what I bring, and that's the kind of community I want to be a part of. What are the questions that you got? Keep up the good work, bro. Yeah, I appreciate that. Appreciate that. All right, what other questions y'all got? Somebody said, well said. I appreciate that. Appreciate y'all connecting with one another. I appreciate all the likes. I appreciate all the subscriptions. We got 10 minutes left. This has been a great live section. Like, oh my goodness, this has been great. It just keeps getting better and better and better. All right, we got a question right here. It says, what are some common branding mistakes you see among real estate agents, and how can they fix or avoid them? I've been very, very fortunate not to like have had, any bad too many bad experiences with agents. I would say every agent that I, was able to work with, is not that they were able to close the deal for me. So maybe what about that agent that didn't last the full journey, right? Maybe they wasn't authentic with me. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I could feel that they looked at me the wrong way. I had people like, had to see this and that type of information to understand if I'm the real deal. And I get that. Sometimes you have to go through those things to say, hey, yes, this is my property. This is the deed. Yes, this is my name on there. Yes, I own it on my own. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to do that, right? Sometimes with an agent, they see a young black man coming up to them, and they could be, an older white man or an older white woman. They're wondering like, how does this young man doing this thing? I wasn't doing it when, I don't know what's going through their mind, but maybe like I wasn't doing it at his age. Like, the next thing you know, I closed the deal, and they's like, well, great job, and they got paid. It was like we all win. You shouldn't judge a book by its cover. I think that's probably what some agents are doing, and they should not do that. They won't have my business if they doing that. I like to maintain relationships with agents. They give out the number, blah, 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 close the deal. You know what I'm saying? I got their number. I move so much that I might not be able to do business with them again right then and there, but I might reach out to them and say, hey, what you think about this idea of me partnering up with a buyer? They still got their agent. They got the buyer agent, and the seller got the selling agent, but I'm in there helping the buyer get a good deal, because during COVID, some people were paying over the asking price. You know what I'm saying? And then now some people like either underwater, or they're not really getting that appreciation because they bought at the top of the market, like over market. Like I would have told that buyer, do not pay more than what the bank is willing to offer you for that house. Don't pay more than its value. That's what I'm able to do alongside of the buyer. I could be alongside the seller too. I'm looking to help people in that aspect, and help them understand that you don't want to be too emotional, especially on your first home. That's not going to be your last home. If you bought one, most of the time it's not your last home. You can end up moving for jobs. You know what I'm saying? You can end up wanting to own real estate. So you don't want that first home to be like a forever home. You don't want to like, what I'm saying? We already talked about you don't want to be house poor. I'm able to communicate that to that buyer. I'm able to talk about, hey, these are other ways to negotiate with the seller. This is what people don't talk about. I haven't seen this online as much. I didn't know it going in. I just had a natural ability to negotiate. I'm like a true business owner, you guys. Like I'm appreciative of, just like being naturally good at stuff, like LeBron, naturally good at basketball. You know what I'm saying? It's like certain people are set up to be able to be successful in certain categories. And real estate has been my baby. It's been like my bread and butter to building wealth. And I'm excited to be able to use that information to help other people. See, what 3 words do you want people to think of when they hear your name? I want people to think of me good, in all aspects. You know what I'm saying? When the Lord like finished something, he said it was good. So that's a good one. That's one that just came to my head. Good. You know what I'm saying? Respect is a high thing for me. So respectable. He's good, he's respectable, and he's consistent. I think those are 3 good ones. I can't just label just 3, but for this question, I'm gonna say 3. He's good, he's respectable, and he's consistent. Those are important, right? All right, what else we got here? Teach us about negotiating a little bit. All right, a little bit. Okay, now that's a skill. That's a high income earning skill. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna give a little bit on that. We got 7 minutes left. We're making good time. All right, so first, you gotta have that mindset. We gotta have that mindset. You gotta know your value. You gotta know your value. That gives you that leverage. That gives you that leverage to be able to negotiate. Understand your value. Understand what you bring to the table, right? It could be negotiating your salary. It could be negotiating, buying something, right? You gotta know your value. You gotta be able to set a baseline and be able to walk away if it doesn't work out, okay? That's part of it. Understanding your value. I'm gonna give you that, because for sure, negotiating is one of those high level skills. And I'm gonna be creating some master classes where I'm able to spill the beans on a lot of stuff. Of course, there's gonna be your price tag associated with it, because I'm gonna be really giving my time and making sure, and I'm gonna be accountable for the results. When I give it out, I'm gonna be able to walk with them, make sure they get it done. Whether it's negotiating, buying a new property, whether if it's building a new brand and negotiating, building your team, I'm gonna create some master classes so you guys can be able to avoid any mistakes that I've made. I didn't really make that much, and I'm grateful for it. I mean, there was one time I bought a property and it had a septic tank. I didn't know it had a septic tank until the tenant told me that it overflowed into the, and man, this was one of the mistakes I made. This is one of the things I didn't know about. This is one of the things I avoid moving forward. Yes, I do make mistakes. I'm glad my mistakes are at a minimum, because when you have mistakes at a minimum, you're able to grow. But mistakes do teach you. So I had this septic tank that I did not know about until my tenant moved in. Like, when I was in that property for a year, I didn't know nothing about no septic tank. I thought it was, city, connected to the city. Okay, so it backfilled, and man, it did that a few times. I'm in Texas while this is happening in Florida. So I had to like connect with a general contractor to, pump that thing out several times. Ultimately led to me having to replace a drain field. For those who don't know, that's a big repair. Like, they had to like rip up the backyard to replace a drain field. Cost me like around $5,000 to $6,000 to do from a distance. I'm managing this property from a distance. All these like big things going on from a distance. And I knew moving forward, I should ask. If it's not on the seller disclosure, it was not. It was just like septic tanks are kind of normal in that area, so they left it off the seller disclosure. You know what I'm saying? I wish my agent would have told me. But, I know to ask. I don't do no septic tanks. I don't do no HOAs if I can avoid it. No septic tanks for sure, and HOAs if I can avoid it. Those are two things that I learned. I never had a HOA, but I know for sure if I'm going ahead and going to be paying taxes, am I going to be paying, different things like that? Why have an extra payment that I don't get back? HOA, housing association. Like, no. I want to maintain control of my property. I want people telling me what I need to do with my property. I'm sure people in the HOA, they appreciate it. Might have a gate, might have, keeping people accountable to cut their lawn and stuff like that. But once again, I'm gonna check out the area before I buy. If people take care of their property, if it's quiet, I can be there without a HOA trying to like make sure things happen. Yeah. Sorry to go on that tangent, but making sure that you guys know there are things to look for, to avoid. There are mistakes along the process. And as long as you learn from it, you'll be all right. Continuous improvement. What advice would you give a new agent who wants to build a portfolio, a powerful personal brand from day one? Where should they start? Okay, somebody got some interest in being an agent. Okay, I see you. I see you. I see you. Okay, being real, starting with family and friends, starting there. They might say no, but at least you practicing trying to get some business. So start with family and friends. You might make some mistakes before you get all the way out there in front of the public, and the public might not tell you exactly what you're doing wrong. So start with family and friends. Maybe you can get some feedback from them. Feedback is golden. Y'all don't understand how much I appreciate feedback. When I got a manager that's giving me feedback, when I got family and friends that are giving me feedback, I got plenty of feedback about how the channel was going, what I could do better. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love feedback. You know what I'm saying? And family and friends will give you that free feedback, but that feedback is valuable. So I would say, someone who's trying to start their personal brand, start with your family and friends that give you feedback. Then you go to social media, and then you start looking at the data. Are people just looking? Are they reacting? Are they commenting? You know what I'm saying? And then you think about benchmarking with other agents. What are they doing right? What can I do that they doing? I don't have to copy everything, but maybe I can do this. Maybe I can do that. You know what I'm saying? That's something that somebody that's looking to be an agent, that they can start early in building the brand. That's a couple things right there. A few things. Let me get another question. Great questions. We are definitely close. No, we coming in on a close. Actually, you guys, I'm all about time management, so I see we're coming to a close. So you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. I appreciate you guys joining in. This has been the best live session for sure, and it's just gonna keep getting better and better. It's a LaFred effect where we go deep, right? Where we have real talk. We go deep and we build forward. Until then, I want you guys to stay focused, stay grounded, and above all, stay real. Peace.